Today, the case I'm talking about is taking us overseas to America. I mean, no disrespect to the family, and everything in this video is all public information available in the internet that I've compiled into one video. Nancy Crampton was born June 16th, 1950, as the daughter of two lawyers in Wichita Falls, Texas. She completed high school in 1968 and went on to study economics at the University of Houston. After graduating, she met a local police officer and ended up getting married. Unfortunately, the marriage broke down and she packed up her life in 1991 and moved to Portland, Oregon. Once she had settled into her new city, she enrolled herself into the Western Culinary Institute, which was later renamed the Le Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts, where she met an instructor called Nancy Brophy. They became close, and after some time became romantically involved. They got married in 1999 and built a quiet life together in the suburbs. One where chickens frolicked in the back garden, a hot meal was served every night, and a fabulous vegetable garden bloomed. Nancy ended up working as a caterer and selling insurance products, whereas Daniel continued to work at the institute where he met his now wife. Daniel had a kid from a previous marriage, but the couple never went on to have children of their own. In 2003, Nancy joined the Romance Writers of America, where she later became a self-published established author. In 2011, she wrote an online blog post called How to Murder Your Husband. The now deleted blog post stated, "As a romantic suspense writer, I spend a lot of time thinking about murder, and consequently about police procedure. After all, if murder is supposed to set me free, I certainly don't want to spend any time in jail. Let me set the record straight. I don't like jumpsuits, and orange isn't my colour. Divorce is expensive. Do you really want to split all of your possessions?" The post also included possible motives for murder, including financial gain, your partner cheating, or your spouse being an abuser. She also outlined several methods consisting of knives being up close and personal with blood everywhere, poison being a woman's weapon and too easy to trace, and a gun being loud and messy, requiring some skill. Nancy released 6 novels in 2015. She published How on the Heart, Shadow Men Book 1, and the next 5 were all part of a series that she called Wrong Never Felt So Right. They were called The Wrong Brother, The Wrong Hero, The Wrong Cop, The Wrong Lover, and The Wrong Husband. A year later, in 2016, Nancy and Daniel filed for their marriage as they had failed to do so 17 years previously. This was also the year that their financial situation began to shift. They took out a loan on a life insurance policy as they were struggling to pay their mortgage. In January 2017, Nancy released the 5th installment of her Wrong Never Felt So Right series, titled The Wrong Seal, Small Towns Hide the Biggest Secrets. Closer to the end of the year, in November 2017, Daniel had no choice but to take out $35,000 out of his retirement fund to pay off their credit card debt. They were spending well over $1,000 a month in life insurance premiums, and they were well on their way to financial despair. On the 2nd of June 2018, at around 7:20 in the morning, Nancy Brophy was shot twice as he was preparing for his day of teaching in a kitchen at the school in which he worked. One bullet had pierced his spine, whilst the other had punctured his heart. An hour later, his bleeding body was found by some students. When questioned by police, Nancy claimed that Daniel had left for work around 7 in the morning. She says that she went on to shower, feed the chickens, and walk the dogs. Police asked her if she was to have any financial gain from Daniel's death. She lied to them about how much she would receive from his life insurance. Not long after, she tried to claim $1.4 million. However, several months after the murder, police found traffic cam footage of Nancy driving her minivan around the culinary school in a 13-minute window in which the murder had taken place. She claimed to have no knowledge of the drive and says she was most likely on a coffee run. She says that she'd forgotten due to the stress of finding out that her husband had been killed. In September 2018, Nancy Crampton Brophy was arrested on suspicion of murdering her husband. While investigating, police found that in the months leading up to Daniel's death, Nancy had made several unusual purchases. She'd bought a ghost gun kit online, which allowed her to make an untraceable weapon in her own home. However, after struggling to put it together, she bought a 9mm Glock, which was the same make and model that Daniel Brophy was shot with. When police found the gun in her home, she claimed that it was for research, and police also couldn't confirm that this was the gun that had killed Daniel Brophy. See, what Nancy had done is she had bought components from a different gun online and had replaced the slide and barrel. After shooting her husband, she restored the 9mm pistol with its original parts, which meant that the police could not definitively say that this was the weapon that killed him. The other gun components were never found, as police suspect that she disposed of them the same day she shot Daniel. In April 2022, Nancy was put on trial for the murder of Daniel Brophy at the age of 71. The prosecution was denied submitting the How to Murder Your Husband blog post as evidence due to the judge's ruling. The reason for this was because it was old and done for a writing seminar. The judge said any value its inclusion may have during the trial was outweighed by any prejudice it would cause in the jury. When Nancy took to the stand in her defence, she recited stories of Daniel that she had a wonderful 25 years with. She sobbed as she described losing her smart, kind, funny and humble husband. Her lawyers claimed that she was a heartbroken widow and that Daniel was killed by someone else in a botched robbery attempt. However, this was disproven by the prosecution, as Daniel was found with his wallet, phone and keys still on him. There were no security cameras where he was killed, and he was the only one in the building at the time, which Nancy would have known due to the 25 years of experience she had of Daniel leaving early to prepare for his day at work. Nancy had explained in her How to Murder Your Husband blog post that financial gain was a good motive, which was most likely the case in this scenario. Apparently, Nancy had also confided in her cellmate Andrea Jacobs that she had shot her husband twice through the heart and even demonstrated how far she was from him. She was found guilty of second-degree murder on May 25th, 2022. The judge stated, "I think the thing that you can take away, which I hope gives you some small measure of solace, is that he was a mentor and a teacher to many and had an impact over a lot of people's lives, and hopefully they will turn and have an impact on others themselves as they teach." Nancy Crampton Brophy was sentenced to life imprisonment on the 14th of June 2022. She may only be considered for parole after she has served 25 years in prison, which means she is most likely going to die behind bars, as she will be 96 before even being considered. Well, that wraps this case up for today. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any weekly cases, and leave a comment down below about any cases you would like me to look into. It could be my next one. Don't forget to follow the link in my description to a blog post if you want to read about this case and any other cases that I have looked into in the past.